Hello students, I hope you all are safe and you enjoyed your holidays a lot. I know that you could not go out anywhere, but you could have a very great fun time with your family. Now we will start with the next chapter of class 9, that is Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. In fact, this is nothing but the base of the geometry, what we have already studied and what we will study in this class and in our further classes. Okay. So, geometry has been made by two terms, two Greek words. One is geo and another is metron. Geo means earth and metron means measurement. So, in early time, in ancient time, geometry was mainly used to take the measurement of the earth. In fact, the history of geometry is not new. In our ancient civilization, it was found and it was applied for different purpose for living. So ancient Egyptians were perhaps the first people to study geometry. They could find out area, they could find out the area of their fields, and they could make canals and different things by the help of geometry. In fact, in Indian Vedas, we find out different geometrical shapes for worship of god and goddesses. So it means geometry is not new. In our ancestors were also using different geometrical shapes and they were having the concept of it. After that, Greek, there were so many Greek mathematicians who worked on it. One of them was Thales. Thales has given us a number of theorems. In his time, there was a student of Thales, which is a very well-known mathematician, that was Pythagoras, who has given us so many theorems. His famous Pythagoras theorem we all are knowing very well. After that, in about 300 BC, a great mathematician, a maths teacher whose name was Euclid. In fact, whatever was researched on geometry, that was in different part of the world. Now Euclid decided, by 300 BC, Euclid decided to compile everything at a place and he did it. So he gathered all the information from different areas and then he wrote a book named Elements. Elements is the first geometry book. Okay, Elements is the book in which he collected everything. Elements has 13 chapters and each chapter is in the form of a book, and for this contribution only Euclid was known as, we honor Euclid as the father of geometry. And this Euclid geometry is the base of the modern geometry. In fact, whatever we get the concept from Euclid geometry, that concept is also used in our modern geometry. In this chapter, I am giving you the chapter map here. In this chapter, we will study about definitions of different geometrical terms and some undefined terms. What are undefined terms? We will discuss this also. We will study about statement, theorem and corollary, axioms and postulates. We will study about these things. What is the concept of these things? In fact, in ancient time, the mathematicians explained geometry by their own concept. So they started explaining it. They started it with solid. So how solid was defined? A solid has shape, size and position and can be moved from one place to another place. So they gave the concept, this concept was given to world by the mathematician, that whatever object they see, they touch, they move it from one place to another place, they are named as solid. So there are so many things, whatever the objects we use at our house, our notebook, pen, they all are solid object. So that is what they told, because they can be moved easily from one place to another place. Now the second term they took, that was surface. The boundaries of a solid are called surfaces. So when we take a solid, that can be a curved surface, that can be a flat surface. So it depends on the, suppose I'm talking about a cylinder. So cylinder is having two flat surfaces and one curved surface. So in this way they told that one solid is bounded by different surfaces. This was given by the mathematician of that time. And the boundaries of a surface are lines. And when we talk about a surface, suppose I am talking about this surface, so the boundary of this surface is these lines. This is what they told. Now the next point they told, the lines end in points. Whenever I am talking about a line, this line is ending with these 2 points. In this way they started giving the concept, they started giving the definitions. So altogether approximately 23 definitions was given in the book Element. A few definitions I have collected from that place. So the definitions, they wrote like this: a point is that which has no part. No part means no dimensions. When we think about a point, suppose I am talking about this point. This point is having no length, no breadth, no height. In fact, practically it is impossible, because without any dimension we cannot observe a point. So this is what they told about a point. This is the definition of point, that it has no part. A line is a breadthless length. A line is not having, it is having only length, no breadth. Now the third one is, a straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. So a straight line is like this, and it is just going through all the points falling on it. The edges of a surface are lines. So this is what was told, the edges of a surface are lines. These all are lines, and that is a surface. A plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. So a plane line, this is a surface, and it is evenly lying between all the lines which is bounding this area. Okay, so these are a few definitions. But when we see these definitions, what do we find? Suppose I am talking about the first one. Here, for getting the concept of this, we need to define the part first. If I am taking definition 2, we need to define breadth first. So this is the problem arises, because for defining one object, we need to define the first one, and for defining this, we again define to some other term. So thus we get a chain of so many terms which need definitions. That is why the mathematician of that time sat together and they decided to keep a few terms as undefined terms. So here they got some undefined terms. Some undefined terms was point, line, and plane. So these are, they three are undefined terms. Undefined terms. रुक जाओ. Now I'll explain statement. A sentence which is either true or false but not both is called a statement. We need to understand it. Suppose I am telling that my friend is very tall. It will not be a statement, because suppose this she is tall for me, but she may not be tall for other person who is taller than her. So this will be not a statement. This will be a sentence, but this will not be statement. But if I say that Donald Trump is the president of America, this is going to be a statement. Is this clear? Because this is a true sentence. It can never be like that. Oh, okay, it is false. For present days, for these days, Trump is the president of America. So that will be a true statement. Now, if I say that Rajiv Gandhi is the present Prime Minister of India, so that will be a false statement. So it is a statement because this is a false statement. Nobody can say yes, Rajiv Gandhi is the Prime Minister of India. At this time, who is the Prime Minister of India? Obviously, Mr. Modi. Like that. So if I say 4 plus 4 is equal to 9, this is going to be a false statement. But if I say 4 plus 4 is equal to 8, that is going to be a true statement. Is that clear? So statements should be always true or false. There should not be an option of either or, like that. Okay. Now we come to the next part, that is theorem. A statement that requires a proof is called a theorem. So whenever we talk about a true statement and we need to prove that also, that becomes a theorem. Now the next is corollary. Corollary, that a result deduced from the theorem is called its corollary. That means if we prove some theorem and from that we get something extra, we get some concept out of that theorem, that is called corollary. Now the next is axioms. Axioms are those facts which are universal truths. They don't require any proof. Axioms are taken for granted. So axioms never need any proof. They will be taken for granted, means they are always true. They don't need any proof. Is this clear? So in this part we will discuss about a little bit axiom. Some axioms are, first this is, I am taking some Euclid's axiom. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to each other. The meaning of this is, suppose I am taking a term and a is equal to x. Again I am taking another term b is also equal to x. It means a will be equal to b. This is our first axiom. Now I am taking the next one. If equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. Means if I am taking two terms, a is equal to b. Now if I add k to a and again if I am adding k to b, then a plus k will be equal to b plus k. Okay. Now the third axiom, if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are equal. It means if I am taking a is equal to b, now I am subtracting k from a and again I am subtracting k from b, then a minus k will be equal to b minus k. Okay. Now the next axiom is, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. If I am taking one circle and I am taking another circle and I keep this circle on this one, and if they coincide means they are exactly overlapping each other, then they both will be equal in area or in their perimeter or in their radius, like this. Now the next is, the whole is greater than the part. Whenever we take anything whole and we take the part of it, obviously the whole will be greater than the part. Suppose I am taking one example. If I am taking a circle and I am taking half of that circle or the quarter of that circle, that is a quadrant of that circle. So obviously the quarter of that circle will be smaller than that circle. The area of the quarter of the circle is less than the area of the whole circle. Or in other sentence, we can say the area of the whole circle will be greater than the area of its quarter. Is this clear to you? Now the next axiom is things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. Suppose I am taking two numbers, one is A and another is B. Then if I take the double of A, that will be equal to 2A, and the double of B will be 2B. Then 2A will be equal to 2B. Now the next is things which are halves of the same thing are equal to one another. Again, if I am taking a number A that is equal to B, so A by 2 will be equal to B by 2, like this. Is this clear? Now I am taking postulates. So axioms are general statements which are universal truth. Is this clear? But postulates are the axioms relating to geometry. When axioms are taken in the area of geometry, it is called postulates, which we will discuss in our next module. Thank you and have a wonderful time.